I, a 35-year-old man, am very unattractive and have made peace with being alone. My friends, though, won't give up on trying to set me up with someone. What do I do? The original post for this one came on July the 25th, 2022. Hey everybody. I'm hoping to get some advice on my current predicament between myself and my friends Sam and Sarah. You see, I am very unattractive. I don't mean that as a put down on myself, but an objective fact about my appearance. I have a very naturally unappealing face with several body scars that make me difficult to look at for some people. I've had most of these scars most of my life, and of course I was born with my face, so I've never been much to look at. I've tried to compensate in other aspects of life. I have a decent job, I'm tall, and I'm in very good shape. I go to the gym and I eat well. Sadly, this is far from enough to make up for how I look. I've had very few relationships and only one sexual partner, though I'd prefer it had never happened after the fact. Though I certainly tried. I put myself out there for years and was rejected by dozens of women before meeting one that I thought would be able to look past my appearance. I lost my virginity to her and everything, but after a month, she came to my place crying and saying though she found me attractive as a person, she couldn't get over my appearance and had felt terrible. She confessed that sex with me was extremely difficult the 2 times we did it due to how I looked. I told her I understood and we went our separate ways. I'd have been happier if we'd been friends and never dated, if I'm being honest. That was several years ago, and I swore off romantic love and sex since it was just hurting me. Life has been pretty good since I gave up. I wish I wasn't what I am so I could find love, but I get it. I made some great friends in Sam and Sarah. I've been friends with them for a few years now and we get along great. The only issue is that they are in relationships and have this fantasy about going on triple dates with me included. The problem is, of course, I don't date, and so they've been trying to play matchmaker. There have been probably 7 or 8 attempts now to get me with some friend or acquaintance of theirs, ranging from being blindsided with a date when I thought I'd just be there with them, or inviting girls to parties and trying to get us together all night. I hate it. I feel bad for these girls because obviously they weren't told about this either, and now they have to play nice with the weird, ugly guy their friends dumped them on. Not only that, but there's this look in their eyes that I'm sadly used to now. It's a combination of sadness and fear that overcomes them when we make eye contact. I can feel them looking at every mark on my face, getting more and more grossed out and uncomfortable. Of course they're scared. This 6'6" man who looks like Frankenstein's monster has become your date for the night. I'd be scared too. I tell them every time not to set me up as I don't want to date, but they get so excited to finally find the one for me that they do it anyway. So backstory aside, I keep telling Sam and Sarah to stop setting me up, and last week they came over to hang out and Sarah kept mentioning this friend of hers from work and starts showing me pictures. I see where this is all going and I find out they've invited her to Sam's party in a few weeks. I say cool, I look forward to meeting her, but this isn't a date and I won't be letting them push me onto the poor girl. She's cute and from what they tell me, I'm sure we'd get along great if I were normal, but that just isn't the case. Sarah begins to get upset at me and asks me why I won't just give her a shot, so I asked if this girl had even seen a picture of me or heard about me. She admitted that she had not and hadn't planned on showing her my pic or even telling her about me until the night of the party. I'll admit, I snapped and told both of them to stop playing matchmaker. I was sick of it, and I showed them texts from 2 of the girls they victimized. They were kind enough to tell me they liked me, but weren't physically attracted to me. I showed the texts, and Sarah and Sam made an excuse and left. I haven't heard from them in a week. How can I fix this? I've made peace with the fact that I will never know romantic love, but I need friends. Okay, so there we go. That is it for the original post. An interesting one to start with, I've got to say. I'm not sure we've had one like this before. Very, very original. Let's first of all, before we get into the update and my thoughts as well, jump straight into some comments because OP was pretty active in the original comment section a couple of years ago. First of all, somebody asked if they could show a picture of themselves. OP said, "The last person I trusted to show my picture sent it to her group chat to laugh at me. I don't like putting it out there anymore. Sorry." Somebody else asked, probably a more sensible question, if your friends did show your pics, would you agree to the matchmaking? OP says, part of me wants to say that I would, but after having the last relationship end the way it did, I'd rather not risk it. Somebody else said, this isn't a joke or meant to be mean, but maybe someone who is visually impaired would be able to appreciate the real you. I think you sound cool. Best wishes. I mean, I agree with that. To be fair, OP's got a lot going on for him. If you're 6'6" and in good shape, you're ticking a lot of boxes right there. On top of the fact that he does sound like a nice guy and is clearly very humble. But OP replied to this, I considered this at one point, but then she has to deal with potential harassment over being the blind or visually impaired girl who settled for the ugly guy. Or I'm seen as the beast that took advantage of her. I'm not putting some poor innocent girl through that. Someone else commented, if you don't want to date, that's fine. But it's no more your place to decide for that potential woman what she has to deal with than it's your friend's place to decide that you'd be happier in a relationship. You don't need to justify your decision to stay single, so it makes it sound like you're trying to be some sort of hero, saving someone from, loving you and being happy with you? You should be single because that's what you want, not because that's what you think others want. A slightly strong comment, I would suggest. I get where it's coming from, but I also understand what OP said before, knowing the impact and the effect and the result of his previous dates and that relationship. OP actually says to this, I've seen what being with me physically does to a woman. It broke the only woman unfortunate to have sex with me. I just can't do that to another person. I've hurt enough people. Now, this is a great series of comments, I think, from another Redditor. They quote OP, saying, quote, if I were normal. Quote, a combination of sadness and fear that overcomes them. Quote, poor unsuspecting women. Quote, Frankenstein's monster. And final quote, two of the girls they victimized. Then they say, please, dude, get some help. These comments about yourself are very unkind and very unnecessary and very extreme. This isn't the writing of someone whose life has been pretty good. I think this is a very, very fair comment, even if OP does see himself as disgusting or even, has had some girls in the past say they're not physically attracted to him. I feel like there are a lot of women out there, a lot of people out there that do not really care about physical attraction or could easily move past that if the person was the right match for them, right? I mean, look, physical attraction is important, but it's just the base level. OP replied, saying, I'm not exaggerating. My appearance frightens people. I'm not normal. Now, somebody else replied to that, saying, and this was downvoted, confidence is sexy. You sound depressing to be around. Now, I wonder why that was downvoted. Probably because of the depressing comment. But I do slightly agree with that. I mean, if OP perhaps was a little bit more confident, then people might be less. I don't know. I mean, I'm jumping to conclusions here, but yeah, it's one thing someone being physically unattractive. It's the next someone being like, oh, I'm disgusting to be around. No woman would ever want to be around me. And again, like, who knows? We don't know what OP looks like. But does it really matter? I mean, people are born with terrible deformities. Terrible in the nicest sense. But you know what I mean. Deformities. And they're fine. They get partners. I'm not sure. It's tough to say without knowing what OP looks like, I suppose. But it does feel a little bit from my perspective as if OP isn't really helping themselves here. But then, based on their past experiences, I also kind of get why. OP actually replied to this saying, that is actually fair. I don't actually talk about this kind of stuff except when I'm telling Sam and Sarah why I don't want them matchmaking me. I don't let my looks bother me when it's just hanging out. It's when they've tried pushing me into these situations that the negativity comes out. Now, one final comment said, and this actually I suppose is answering what OP said, as in, how can I fix this? How can I deal with this and make sure that I don't lose my friends in Sarah and Sam, but then also tell them how I'm feeling, said to say this or text this. Hey Sam and Sarah, I'm sorry our last conversation ended the way it did, but I'm not sorry we had it. The unfortunate truth of the matter is, you are being incredibly dismissive and disrespectful of my life choices. It is comparable to if I told you I was gay and you insisted on continuing to set me up with women because you feel you know better than me what I want. It's a shame if my current life choice for myself makes you so uncomfortable that you can't fathom being in my life unless I'm coupled up. That hurts. But if that is how things have to be, then so be it. If me, as I am, a single person who wishes to remain so at this time, is enough for you to still want to be friends with me, then that's great. However, going forward, you're going to have to respect my wishes and my boundaries regarding the issue. I will leave you with that for now, and I hope to hear from you. They also said, so sorry you've gotten so many responses, doing the exact same freaking thing that your friends do. It sucks to be so dismissed all the time. OP replied to that saying, that is so appreciated. Thank you so much. Okay, so there we go. That is it for the comments. Now, 4 days later, we got the first update. Remember, there's a second update to come after this that is 2.5 years later, posted just 8 days ago at the time of recording. But as I said, the first update came on July 29th, 2022. Hey everyone, I figured since posting here the other day ended up being an overall cathartic experience, and since I have a very happy update, I'm back to share. After spending hours reading and responding to users, both in thread and in DMs, I decided to reach out to Sam and Sarah and try to set things right. We met up to talk, and to keep it short, Sam and Sarah hadn't reached out because they felt terrible after realizing their mistakes. They were very apologetic, and I promised that as long as they stopped trying to set me up and forgave me for snapping at them, then we were cool with each other. Looks like communication saves the day again. So after our talk, they asked if I wanted to come over and play some games and have a few drinks with them and some of their work friends. Sarah admitted that the girl, Laura, that they wanted to set me up with would be there, but that they hadn't said anything to her about me and there would be no pressure or matchmaking going on, so I agreed to go. So last night I came over for drinks and games. I met Laura, without some stupid blind date pretext, and she's a lovely person. We have several interests in common, and she and I have very similar jobs within different companies, so we have a lot to talk about. It's great. They didn't meddle, and I got a new friend. Easy peasy. Heck, we get along so great, she's inviting me over to her place tonight to watch some movies we both learned were some of our favourites. Then some pizza and complaining about working in IT. So, my social life is alive and well, it seems. That is about as far as my update is concerned. Sam, Sarah and I are cool. I made a new friend and I got to talk to so many wonderful people on Reddit. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to read my post and give me your opinions and advice. There are some really great folks in this community. Heck, I'm still receiving a few messages a day of kindness from you awesome people. Okay, now before we get into the final update on this one, let's get into some comments on that one. And somebody said exactly what I'm thinking here. She invited you over for pizza and a movie at her place. I think you have more of a shot than you realize. Somebody else said, even if this girl isn't interested, I think this will help you relax and put less pressure on yourself about your looks. Yeah, maybe you aren't the most attractive guy, but you seem like an interesting, intelligent person, so just be happy with yourself for your good qualities. Now this is, I think, a really important comment to highlight perhaps the main way in which OP is, I don't want to say going wrong, but is, I think, misinterpreting life and what a relationship is about and what people are really interested in. This person says, I just want to throw it out there. I don't know what you look like, and also I couldn't really care less because I've met some ugly people in my life and I'm 300 pounds. Just don't knock yourself down a few notches. I don't care what you look like. You've got a good job, you're safe around women, you're in shape and care about your well-being. You maintain communication and friendships, you have boundaries and realistic expectations, you're respectful. The way you look is actually the least interesting part of you. Somebody is out there for you and will also recognize that your face is the least interesting part of you. I think the important thing to say throughout all of this is, do we actually, or I guess the question is, do we actually think that OP doesn't want to meet someone? I don't think that is the case. I think that perhaps they have resigned themselves to the fact and are now at peace with the fact that they aren't going to find someone, but they would love to find someone. In fact, didn't they say that exact thing earlier? They've just been let down a few times or had some bad experiences. So knowing that, I think this is cause for OP to sort of change their mindset. And yeah, this new girl, Laura, seems pretty cool. Anyway, let's get into the reason I'm reading this story in the first place. Just 8 days ago at the time of recording, December the 9th, 2024, 2.5 years after the original post, we got this update. So, a few years ago, I came to Reddit to ask about an issue I was having with my friends trying to set me up on blind dates. I've linked those posts above for context. I am physically very unattractive due to various circumstances in my life, leaving me scarred, which causes issues in blind dating, as you might guess. I then updated it after we'd resolved the issue. The woman they were going to try and set me up with before our argument, Laura, ended up being really cool, and without the pressure of it being a blind date and just us hanging out with a larger group, we clicked and were fast friends. We hung out the night after at her place to watch movies and eat pizza. It was great. We started hanging out more and more as time went on, and eventually she asked me out. I was terrified initially, but I decided to go for it. She is not bothered by my scars. She looks at me with kindness and warmth that is indescribably wonderful to me. Laura and I are still together. We got a place together not too long ago, and I intend to propose to her early next year. Sam, Sarah, and I are still great friends. We now go on those triple dates they always wanted. We even did our first Friendsgiving with them, their SOs, and the kids. Laura loves getting to cook for a house full of guests, and we intend to try and host more group meals now that we have a place with space for it. It wasn't easy, but with a growing support network in Laura and my friends, I was finally able to get some more help for my mental health to work on my insecurities and trauma. I've been going for over a year now, and the progress is slow but steady. Laura has been my rock. I love her more than I ever hated myself, so it's been easier than I expected to keep going to therapy appointments. So that's about it. I was in a very dark place, and some kindness from internet strangers helped me through a rough patch, so I wanted to repay them by at least posting an update, even if most of those people have since moved on. Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, people remember Reddit stories. They really do, and I'm sure, and we'll get into some comments right now, that people were thrilled to see this update in the same way that I am, even though I've only just come across the story. Somebody said, "This is such a sweet and heartwarming update. OP, I'm so happy for you and Laura, and I'm glad you're getting the help to work through your insecurities. I'm glad you decided to take another shot at love, especially since the pressure of finding it through blind dates was taken off. May you have a great long life surrounded by love and support. Thank you for updating us." And OP replied to this saying, "Thank you so much. People were so kind to me when I came here before, and I felt like reaching out when I remembered everything I posted. I was in a very dark place, and I bet I worried some kind-hearted people with all that negative self-talk. Before Laura, I never thought I'd even be allowed to imagine getting to spend my life with someone. Yet here I am, planning a proposal for the woman I love, and she loves me. I'm a lucky man. I'm sorry for rambling. I had to stop myself from going on and on about Laura in the post, and I'm almost doing it here too." Well, there we go. What a genuinely lovely resolution to this story. I think, to be fair, the fact that OP has now outlined that he was in such a bad mental headspace and just, moment in his life makes the whole thing a little bit more understandable in terms of all that negative talk that he was conveying earlier, and just how sort of poorly and how he saw himself in such a bad light. It does make sense, because obviously when you're in that mindset, then that's kind of all you can see. But looking back on it now, I don't know, he got unlucky. Like, first of all, having scarring, being generally unattractive, that is tough. Like, let's be honest, it just is tough. And then on top of that, having those bad experiences with women. I mean, whoever wants to hear you're a lovely guy, but I just don't find you physically attractive? Like, on the one hand, I do respect the honesty a little bit, but also don't say that. I would never. That's just a horrible thing to say. Make up another excuse. Yes, it's not honest, but saying that someone's not physically attractive is when you've been going on dates with them and they're a lovely person is brutal. Especially when they have like scarring and stuff. I mean, that is tough. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you respect that honesty, or do you think that the girl should have white lied instead? I'm not sure I'd want to hear that. I mean, if someone said to me, "You're a really nice guy, but you're just physically unattractive," I would lose so much confidence. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's great that like OP can now look back and think, you know what? I was in a bad place. It makes sense because of everything that's happened to me. I wasn't thinking in the way that I'm thinking now, though. I was thinking that physical attraction was everything. I'm never going to meet someone, etc., etc. But it's just so good that he has actually met someone. Also, it didn't really take very long, did it? I mean, that is crazy. Like, let's actually go through the timeline here. So he posted the original post on July 25th, 2022, saying, "I don't want to meet anyone anymore. Can my friends stop trying to set me up? This is horrible." And then 4 days later, he meets someone. Maybe that's the beauty of Reddit, guys. That's all I can say. If you want to meet someone in maybe I should post on Reddit. If you want to meet someone in 4 days, go on whatever subreddit this was originally posted on, r/relationship advice. And yeah, maybe you'll meet someone very quickly and be proposing to them within 3 years. Sensational stuff. As always, guys, get your comments in down below. I'm always super interested to see what you guys make of this story, because it's a little bit of an echo chamber here, right? I'm talking to myself. I've got the people of Reddit and I can read the comments, but I want to know what you guys think. Okay, so let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in the comments.